Dick Cheney went on Fox News to fearmonger over the Iran peace deal. Let's listen.
Mr. Vice President, a day that will live in infamy, your thoughts?
I can't help but just shake my head at Sean, at what we're seeing here. We've seen a repetition of the same kind of operation with respect to other issues. The one thing that really disturbed me was when he said we have, quote, stopped the proliferation of nuclear weapons. That's a lie. It's just the fact of the matter is that the situation we've got, when Iran ends up with the nuclear weapons, that is bound to lead others in the region to protect themselves and, in effect, to acquire their own capability. I think that was one of the biggest problems we had when we were in office that we were concerned about was nuclear proliferation. We'd seen the Iraqis in 81 with a nuclear reactor. The Israelis took it out. In 91, they had a second program. We took it out in Desert Storm. When we took down Saddam Hussein in 03, Gaddafi gave up his nuclear materials. And that let us wrap up AQ Khan, et cetera, et cetera. There's a long history there. What Obama has done is, in effect, sanction the acquisition by Iran of nuclear capability. And it can be a few years down the road. It doesn't make any difference. It's a matter of months until we're going to see a situation where other people feel they have to defend themselves by acquiring their own capability. And that will, in fact, I think, put us closer to actual use of nuclear weapons than we've been at any time since Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II.
Did you hear what he said at the end there? We're now closer to use of nuclear weapons. We're the closest we've been since Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II. Okay, I'm not a genius or anything, but that sounds to me like he's the one that's threatening nuclear war. He's saying we're the closest to actual nuclear warfare that we've been since World War II when we did it. So wait, how can you sit there and say that it's Iran that are the ones who are being aggressive? They just signed a peace deal. They just signed a nuclear agreement wherein they said we are not going to create nukes. And then when they sign that agreement, you say, now we need to attack. Now we're even closer to using nukes than we were before. So let me get this straight. They go to you and say, we would like peace. We are going to agree to terms here that say we'll never get a nuclear weapon and we don't want a nuclear weapon. We're committing to that. It's in writing. It's an official treaty with the international community. We're saying you win. You win. You get what you want. You get exactly what you want. And your response is, I kind of want to nuke you more now. Dick, who's the bad guy here? Dick, let me explain something to you. You lost all credibility, okay? You need to sit this one out. You're not Nostradamus. Every single prediction you thought you nailed, you got exactly wrong. I mean, for example, with Iraq, what did him and George Bush and all the neocons say? They said, we're going to be greeted as liberators. How'd that work out? The oil will pay for the war. How'd that work out? It's going to be over in a few months. How'd that work out? Every single prediction they made, there's going to be a democracy, a flourishing Jeffersonian democracy in Iraq. How'd that work out? Now ISIS has taken over vast swaths of it, and the Sunni-Shia divide is worse than ever. Every prediction you made was wrong, and now you expect us to take you seriously when you want to make more predictions. And understand, most of that was just flat-out lies. It was flat-out lies. He's like, oh, yeah, this makes Iran get closer to a nuclear weapon, and now they're going to have it in a few months. Except that's wrong, because before the deal, they had the capability to, if they chose, create a nuclear weapon, and it would have taken a few months in order to get to that point. Now, because of the deal, that it was a few months, now it's 10 years. So they got rid of all of their uranium that was enriched to a higher point. Now there's a cap on it where I think it's 3.67 or something like that. And under that level means they can only enrich uranium for scientific reasons and for power for their power grid, which, by the way, they're already allowed to do under international law. So as a result of this deal, it is not a few months until they can create a bomb if they wanted to. It's 10 years now. So the deal achieved something that you should be celebrating, but you're not celebrating, and you're just lying about it. He made it seem like, well, now we know Iran's going to get a bomb, but the deal says the opposite. In fact, let me quote you from the deal. Under the preamble and general provisions on page 3 of the deal. So you don't even need to Read all the way into page 97. We're talking about page 3 of the deal. The first line on page 3 says, quote, Iran reaffirms that under no circumstances will Iran ever seek, develop, or acquire any nuclear weapons. So you're just wrong. You're lying. It says in the deal that they're not going to get it, and you go out there and say they're going to get it. Why should I trust you? I see the deal, and I see that they signed it, and I see the international community is on board with it. Why the fuck would I trust you when you've been wrong about everything over them? Now, is it a fair point to say, well, I don't trust them? That's a fine point to make. But understand the deal is not based on trust. It's based on IAEA verification. And as always with the Republicans, they don't understand that Iran shouldn't trust us either. They act like, well, come on now, you have to grandfather in the fact that we should be trusted because we're America. We're obviously trustworthy. They're like, don't worry about that question. But I don't trust them. Well, they shouldn't trust us either, jackass. We overthrew their government in 1953 in a CIA coup. We've been fucking with their internal affairs forever. The whole reason why we did overthrow their government in the early 1950s is because Mohammad Mossadegh, democratically elected leader of Iran, wanted to nationalize the oil industry and actually give some wealth back to the people of Iran so they can have a flourishing middle class. Western oil companies in the UK and the US said, can't allow that, sorry. Toppled him, put in the Shah allowed us to continue to steal the oil. So this idea of, they're pure evil, and they're wrong, and they're bad, and we're pure good, and we might have to nuke them to prove that we're the good people. Really? A second grader can see through that logic. We're such great people that we should nuke a bunch of innocent people in Iran. Fuck off, you've been wrong all along, and you're going to continue to be wrong.